Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful Saturday morning to bake, and today I've decided to make up a mason jar gift for my friend Sarah, who just had her fourth baby 2 weeks ago, and thought I'd surprise her with this easy recipe for my Milky Way cookies that I got from the Billings Clinic Hospital from my lactation consultant. So I'm just going to take you through today. Just here are all the ingredients, and these are very simple cookies to make. I like to make them in a mini version because they're really just fun just to pop in your mouth like little potato chips and munch them down, and they taste delicious even though they have this flaxseed, and they also have this brewer's yeast buds. They are absolutely delicious. Okay, here I'm going to walk you guys through just some of the ingredients and how I mix them together. Here is 1 cup of fine baker's sugar. I like to use the fine sugar because it mixes really well and creates a really beautiful fluffy cream in your cookies. So that's 1 cup of fine baker's sugar. And then we have 1 cup of brown sugar. And then just cream that together really nice until it's combined. Okay, so next here we're going to add 2 eggs. I like to use the brown organic eggs, and usually you add 1 egg at a time until each egg is combined well, then you add the other one. But we're just going to go ahead and add both of the eggs here at once and make sure everything is combined really well for your next step. So once your mixture is all combined, we're going to add the flax, and the flax that I use is actually a milled flax. It's not whole, so you don't have to grind it or anything like that, but you still have to add warm water to it to allow it to expand. So that's what we did here. Okay, so you can see here that our flax powder has turned into this beautiful kind of gelatinous liquid. It's kind of strange what happens when you add water to this. It's supposed to expand and open up the flax so that the nutrients comes out of it. So next we're going to add our vanilla here, and I'm just adding 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. And in the recipe, it does not call for vanilla, but I just like to add a little bit more sweetness to the cookie. Some people don't like the flavor of the yeast and the flax. I actually really enjoy that flavor. I love the earth tones, the flavor that it has. So here we're just going to combine all the flax into the batter here until it's completely mixed in and combined. Our next step is to mix all the dry ingredients, and here we have, this is the brewer's yeast buds, and you're going to add all the dry ingredients together, and here's the 2 cups of flour. I will link below the recipe, so that's why I'm not really telling you the measurements during the video. And then that's the flour. And then here is the baking soda and salt, and I like to use these little crystals that are actually the Himalayan pink sea salt. Okay, so here I actually ended up adding just regular sea salt to my dry mixture because my crystals for my pink Himalayan sea salt weren't dissolving fast enough, so I just added regular salt. And then I'm going to combine all of these dry ingredients very well together before I mix it into the batter. Okay, so now we're going to mix half of our dry ingredients into the batter and then mix really well until combined before you add the next half of the dry ingredients. The first half of the dry ingredients are combined. Now I'm going to add the rest of the dry ingredients. And then again, we're going to mix really well until everything is combined into a creamy texture. And then next, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, the oatmeal and the chocolate chips. Okay, so here we're going to add 2 cups of steel cut oats, and I like to add all the ingredients in here to be organic. And the only thing that I don't use that is not organic is the chocolate chips, and I use a high quality chocolate chip from Ghirardelli. I also just love the substantial chocolate chips that they make. They're just extra large and they have a really good flavor. I also just like to snack on the chocolate chips when I'm craving something sweet. That way I don't end up eating a whole candy bar and I can just eat a few little chocolate chips. Okay, now we're just going to combine everything together, and that is it for your mini Milky Way lactation cookies. The next step is to load them onto your baking sheet. So here I have a baking sheet with aluminum foil, and usually I use aluminum foil because the cookies just seem to bake faster and more crispy on the bottom than parchment paper. And here we have my son, James. He woke up from his nap and he's gonna help mommy bake some cookies today. So here we go. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of olive oil to the baking sheet here. And then I use coffee filters to spread it around just because I feel like they're cheaper to use than paper towels, and they just seem to work just as well. Here I'm going to add the cookies onto the baking sheet, and what you're going to do is make these about the size of a quarter, and you're going to be able to put them closer onto the baking sheet. Hello, little James again. And that way, these are going to be little bite-sized chips once you put them into your mason jar, and you can fit a lot of them in there. I'm going to put the cookies into the oven here, and I've got my oven already preheated to 375, and they're only going to cook for about 12 minutes or less. And because they're so small, they also don't take as long to cook, but I've noticed they take about 12 minutes, and then I'm going to set my timer here for 12 minutes, and we're good to go. Here are all my crafting supplies that I'm going to use to make my little gift mason jar. This is the tag I'm going to be using, and all these match. They come in a set, and then I'm going to use black ribbon, and this piece of paper here has all my letters on it, and then this is just scrapbook paper that I use to cut out in a circle, and I trace the lid onto the paper, and that will be my decoration for the top of my mason jar. So here I'm just going to show you guys the cookies baking in the oven. As you can tell, they're just tiny little cookies, and you can fit a lot of cookies on one little baking sheet. And then here are the 2 jars that I made. These are 1-quart mason jars. I was able to make 5 quarts, so 5 jars of these cookies with one batch. And on the little label there, I usually put the recipe on the back. And then these, as you can tell, these are just tiny little scrumptious cookies, and they're bite-sized and fun to eat. You don't have to be lactating or needing to produce milk to eat these cookies. They're just a nutritious snack that you can eat at any time. I eat them all the time. And I love making educational videos like this that actually help people. So if you love my video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share my video with a friend.